Good morning, Sydney. It's great to be here. This is my second time to Sydney, actually. The first time was like 13 years ago. I was here for another SEO event, and James Norquay invited me out to barbecue somewhere on the rocks, had a great meal. And ever since, I've been fans of Prosperity Media. So I just want to take a moment and thank James and the Prosperity team for holding this event and supporting the SEO community. Thank you very much for having me here, too. All right, let's get into it. Anybody see this post on the ARES blog? Why want to start affiliate marketing in 2025? Is Tim here today? Great, huge publication. The URL of this post is Affiliate Marketing is Dead. Affiliate Marketing is Dead by Joshua Hardwick, great author, great SEO, who I agree with 99.9% of the time. And I get it. I get the sentiment. When we see graphs like this was a travel blog. A family of travelers traveled the world, sharing their journeys with everybody. They were supported by affiliate links and ads, and this is what happened. We've all seen a million charts like this, and not just, I'm going to be talking a lot about affiliate and ad-supported sites today, but not just affiliate and ad-supported sites. They're just the most vulnerable to these recent Google updates. Every industry is vulnerable. So back in the day, back when, long before James and I had our barbecue dinner and he was doing MySpace templates back then, SEO used to be very, very simple when a lot of us were getting in the game. Back then, you needed two things to rank. Just two. You needed content and you needed links. Any content and any links you could rank. And some of it was really, really terrible. Circa 2008, 2009, the SERPs were filled with spam. It was a wild, wild west. And then Google came along, 2010, and introduced Panda. Panda was their first real machine learning algorithm that leveraged quality rater data, which is going to become important later in this talk. And Google said, hey, you can't just have any content, you need to have good content. And it seems fine, it seems reasonable today, but you'd be amazed how many people dropped out of SEO, dropped out of content marketing because Google said you had to have good content. Entire industries were wiped out because of this update. And then a year later, followed by Penguin, Google says, you not only have to have good content, you have to have reasonable quality links. We can't have these links farms anymore. This destroyed so many businesses. I know good SEOs that went into real estate because selling homes was easier than acquiring minimally viably good links. But the rest of the industry adapted and moved on, and the internet became a better place. And then around circa 2018, we had EAT, the concept of EAT and the MEDIC update. This mostly affected your money or your life queries, financial, medical, things like that. But it still destroyed a lot of websites that didn't have that expertise and authority. But the industry adapted and moved on. And then 2022, 2023, we got the helpful content update. Google said we have to have experience, EEAT. And this destroyed a lot of companies. A lot of companies didn't survive. And it's been a question ever since Google released this update, what they mean by helpful. And sneak preview, it has nothing to do with the word helpful. So how did we get here? So if you remember around a few years ago, articles were popping up in Hacker News, and a publication that a lot of Googlers read, The Verge, everything else like that the SERPs were once again kind of becoming very frustrating for people. They were filled with SEO fake top 10 lists filled with affiliate links. And it's kind of true. They were filled with both good results and these sort of fake SEO top 10 lists, because we had gotten good at doing SEO. We had gotten good at having good content, good links, showing expertise and authority. We could do those things, and if you could do those things, you could reasonably rank. But some people were taking advantage of that. So Chris Nelson, not a Googler that's in the public eye, but very important behind the scenes, released this post that kind of went unnoticed in 2002. What creators should know about Google's 2002 helpful content update? And he said they were going to focus on people-first content, not search engine-first content, and a few other things. And it sort of went unnoticed for a while until the update started rolling out. And at first, it was affiliate sites, ad-supported sites. And then as Google incorporated it into core, and it started impacting more and more industries, software sites, manufacturing sites, insurance sites, any site that did content over and over again, we see these huge declines, and it almost seems like anybody could be hit. So what was going on? I get the sentiment. Affiliate marketing's dead. The rules are harder. Google wants a certain type of content, and it's very tough. SERPs are dominated by Reddit and big brands. I understand the doom and gloom. I get it. And I get that some people may not want to invest in this environment. But what if? I'm a little more optimistic. In fact, I'm way more optimistic. I know you've probably seen this statistic the last week or so, that Google is serving 5 trillion search results a year. If you just to visualize 5 trillion, if you took a $100 bill, I assume they have $100 bills in Australia, and we call them Ben Franklins in the US. I don't know what you call them here. If you stack them one on top of each other, 100 would be like that, 5 trillion would go to the moon and halfway back. That is a lot of searches. Now it's true, only 40% of these result in a click, that AI overviews is cutting into click-through rate, but that's still over 1 trillion searches, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of clicks going to publishers. Google grew 20% last month in click volume. Now, it's true, some of that's just people, searching more than once on one thing, but it's still, it's reasonable to expect Google to grow another 20% this year. There are so many clicks going to publishers. And while a lot of sites have lost, there are sites like these winning again and again and again. And these are pure affiliate sites, the category of sites most vulnerable to Google updates, and I'll show you what these sites are at the end. So the opportunity is there, but we need to align with the new reality of Google. And if we do it right, we can be in that successful cohort. So when we talk about helpful content, the update, the algorithm that Google rolled into core, what are we talking about? Well, Google tells us it involves certain things. And probably the 4 most important things, if you go through their documentation, are this. They don't want to reward SEO-first content, which is a little confusing to us because we all create content for SEO. So what does that mean? We'll dive into that a little bit. They want us to create people-first content. What does it mean by people first? What are they talking about? We either need to have an intended audience, or we need to have an existing audience. Now, I'm going to tell you, you don't need, we'll dive into the definition of all these. You do not need all 4 of these to rank. You need, at most, 2 or 3. Probably most importantly, you need the first one, and you need to nail one of the other 3. If you can nail all 4, that's awesome. You're going to rank town. So let's get into it. We don't want to be this. If we align these signals, we can be like this. All right, so let's talk about SEO-first content. This caused me a lot of distress because Google says we don't want you creating content for SEO. I'm like, what's the point of creating content if we're not going to be getting Google traffic from it? So it's a little hard. I noticed that a lot of the sites, when I looked at them, they were very good at SEO. They were doing SEO very, very well. So here's just an example. A lot of us have SEO experience. We get a page like this, title tag. Side note, this page is 16 years old. I think I was responsible for this page for like 10 years. This one page has driven millions and millions of dollars in revenue and millions of search visits. So we want to take care of this page. We want to make sure it gets as much traffic as possible. So first thing we're going to do is optimize the title tag. So we do something like this. Title tag's kind of a boring title, so we're going to pretty it up. Currently it's what are title tags plus a free, capitalized, meta title preview tool. This is something that an SEO would do. Your mom, if she was, unless she has a lot of SEO skills, or your dad, they may not do this title optimization. So I begin to wonder, when I read statements like this, don't create content for search engines, what would happen if we looked at winning sites and losing sites and see how often they were optimizing their title tag? So we have this database of 4,000 sites. They were mostly ad and affiliate supported. 80% of them lost traffic during these updates, but we're able to use this to analyze the winners and the losers. And what we did is we went through and we looked at how many times people were optimizing their title tag, using Levenstein distance, how similar the tags were. And what we found was the losing sites were optimizing their title tags way more than the winning sites. The winning sites had bad title tags. They were just boring. They didn't have a lot of click-through rate. Now, I'm not saying title tags is a ranking factor. That's not how any of this works. It's all pattern recognition. But it's obvious that the sites that were doing the good SEO practices were not the ones that were winning. Another one, we looked at internal links. Something I've been preaching about for years because I know how powerful internal links can be, especially if you get into some of the advanced stuff with anchor links and things like that, the anchor text variation. So we went through the database of thousands of sites and we counted how many internal anchor text variations went to each page. Because traditionally, that's a sign of good SEO. But not in this case. The sites that were doing SEO really good were the losers. 2.5 anchor text per page. For the winners, 4.1 for the losing. If nothing else, I'm not sure SEO was being targeted, but when these updates started coming out, everybody was ordering SEO audits, technical SEO solutions, and it was sad because everybody was just regurgitating the same old SEO advice, thinking that SEO was the problem out of this. We just need to SEO harder, and we can get out of this helpful content update, but this wasn't the case. Dates, another one. Are you changing, Google made a big deal out of this. Are you changing the dates often on your page without significantly changing the content? We crawled thousands of pages and looked how old the pages were. What was the last updated date or published date on the site? We do this all the time. Winning sites, the average age of the date on the page was 3 years old. So to put that in perspective, winning sites would have a date last updated 2022. Seems reasonable. Winning sites was all in the last year. The average date was within 365 days or something, 349 days. So 2024, 2025, these people were updating their pages all the time, whether or not they were significantly changing the content of the page or not. So I'm not saying any of these things are ranking factors, and please don't take that impression away. But it's all machine learning, it's all pattern recognition. And to give Google credit, Google got a lot of flack for communicating during these things. But I think they were trying to tell us what was going on. Danny Sullivan tweeting under the Search Liaison account, it's that these things might indicate a pattern of doing too much to show Google things that's taking away from just being a good site to people. That the people in this room, so good at our jobs, might be doing too much SEO. And again, Danny tweeting under his own account, talking about who they want to reward. You've got a whole group of creators that have nothing to do with SEO. Want nothing to do with SEO. They don't know SEO. They're creating great content. That's great because that's what we want to reward. So what if these helpful content updates were about leveling the playing field? And Google seems to indicate that because they want to reward people-first content. What if the purpose was to take away our advantage as SEOs? So what is people-first content? I want to use an example. You're Google, and you have a choice. The query is, best running shoes for pronation. By the way, I've been running around Sydney. This is the greatest run ever. I love it. And pronation, if you're a runner, it's when you kind of put your feet out to the side. It causes all kinds of problems with your steps. So shoes that can help with that, make your feet more stable. So very, very highly competitive keyword. Who do you think Google wants to rank for this keyword? In choice A, we have Uncle Harry. Uncle Harry, he's a training expert. He doesn't know SEO. But he's got 30 years of running experience. He knows shoes upside down, left and right. But he's not really good at the whole web marketing stuff. So Google, you can rank Uncle Harry, or you can rank a bunch of SEOs. So with all due respect to Craig Campbell and Matt Diggity and myself, people like this dominated SEO search results for years. But Google said, we don't want you guys anymore. We don't want you. We want Uncle Harry. We want the Uncle Harrys of the world because they're not the ones buying links and optimizing the anchor text. We're trying to level the playing field. So the question is, what does Uncle Harry have that we don't, that SEOs do not have? And the answer is, Uncle Harry has experience. He has first-hand knowledge that cannot be bought, that cannot be manipulated. That he's actually trusted and used the products that he is advocating for. That is the extra eat in experience, expertise, authority, and trust that Google added when they first announced these updates. So I urge you not to be this guy. Because every time I talk about this online, we get these things. EAT is fake. Google does not know if you're actually an expert. These are just things for quality raters. Don't be him. Google uses, I'm going to stop for a second and explain the 3 ways that Google tells us they use EEAT. That makes it very real. And it's true. Google does not know if you're an actual expert. They don't know if you actually have experience. But they have invested millions in machine learning algorithms to take a pretty good guess. And it's all pattern recognition. So the first way Google uses EAT, which they tell us, is they have algorithms that align with EAT, such as PageRank. Okay, we understand that PageRank sort of awards authority. The second way that they use EEAT is they train quality raters to score tens of thousands of pages a day, human labeled data, all over the world, and they use those scores to adjust for new algorithms. So they get the score and they have 2 algorithms side by side. They can kind of manually change the dial. And that's been known for quite a while. The third way that they kind of hide away in documents is they use those tens of thousands of human labeled data to train their machine learning algorithms. So if you have thousands and thousands of results that human quality raters scored as this page looks like it has high experience, they can put that into one pile, train their machine learning algorithms, and spit out pages that look similar to this with similar experience. So those are the ways they do it. So a couple years ago, I became a quality rater, because I wanted to understand how Google was training their quality raters to score these pages and use these inputs for machine learning algorithm. And this is a diagram by Mario Fisher. I don't know if you've seen this. Brilliant diagram of all of Google's ranking systems. I think it was on Search Engine Land, you can look it up. But this is where the quality rater data comes in to these systems, and they use it in a couple of different places. So I wanted to see what this was like. So here's an example. This query is best underwater camera. Highly competitive query. This traditionally would be dominated by the affiliate sites. Ranking first, Reddit. Okay, I can accept that. Ranking third, Travel and Leisure. Huge branded site. But then you have this site, enrichingpursuits.com, site I'd never heard of. And looking at it, you think it's a fine site, but you might describe it as kind of a mid-tier travel blog. It's really confusing. Why did this rank so highly for such a competitive query? So then you click in and you read what's at the top of the page. And this is a thing of beauty. I'm gonna read almost every word of it. My husband and I are experienced snorkelers and have snorkeled 68 sites around the world. We have tested a lot of snorkeling gear. Sometimes I'll put together a list of our 5 favorites. I've been snorkeling since 2007. Let me tell you, yada, yada, yada. I am so excited to share which one is my favorite. And then they have pictures of all the snorkeling gear they bought. As a quality rater, any quality rater would rate this page as having, oh, damn, yeah, they have experience. And you put enough of these pages in a certain pile, and Google starts to reward the same thing. And this page does incredibly well. So we went through our data set of sites, and I thought, how do I rank when I'm working as a quality rater? How do I look for evidence of experience? And it's statements like that. I did this, I can do this. I thought, let's count personal pronouns on each page. So we went through and we counted personal pronouns on every page. Winning sites in our data set, 23 personal pronouns on average per page. Losing sites, 9.4, not talking about their personal experience. Now, when I first published this data like a year ago, I think I communicated the wrong message. I think people were like, I just have to stuff the page with personal pronouns. That's not the message. I don't think personal pronouns has anything to do with it. But those personal pronouns are a proxy to showing experience. You have to put the experience on the page. So many of us aren't talking about why we're qualified to talk about the things that we're talking about on a site. And we need to do that. We need to show she put a snorkeling resume on there. We need to show our digital resume, our expertise resume on the content that we create. I want to share this real quick. This is something you can quickly audit for your clients. How to count personal pronouns using Screaming Frog or Sitebulb or whatever. Just do a custom regex search. Use a string like that. You can use ChatGPT or you can put it in your own. I'll give you a moment to take a picture. I think the deck's going to be available afterwards too. And you just put in this regex, and you can crawl. It's a really simple report, and then you can count the number of personal pronouns a page. This doesn't solve your problem, but this can give you an indication, especially if you compare it to your competitors, and take a look. Are we showing personal experience? Are we showing our expertise on these pages, that we actually know what we're talking about? Are we showing our methodology? Are we showing our content, our expertise resume? We're also working as a quality rater. We looked at images a lot. I noticed that if a page was filled with stock images, that showed low effort. And not that stock images are a ranking factor, but we went through, my team classified hundreds of sites, whether they were using stock images or not. The winning sites were only using stock images 32% of the time. Losing sites, stuffed with stock images. Low effort, low originality. Not a ranking factor, they just weren't putting the effort and originality on the page. I'm a huge proponent of humanizing your images. Putting your hand, holding that juicy burger, holding that strange piece of fruit. This guy reviewing mattresses actually sitting on the mattress. This shows that they're actually using the things that they're talking about. And you can do this. You can do this for any industry, almost any product. I have a client that does Excel formulas. He has videos and pictures of himself working in Excel, annotated screenshots. You know, some things are more challenging than others. If you're talking about the insurance industry, that may be challenging to come up with a humanized image, but you can still do it. You can get creative. You can figure out how to humanize your media. I have never agreed with a John O. Anderson quote better than this. SEOs need to stop creating content. Because this is what we all used to do. This was the content playbook before the helpful content update came out. We'd do our keyword research, we'd pump it into an SEO tool that told us all our headings, we'd fill in that content, we'd hire the writers, we'd put in our alt tags. That's not what we're looking for anymore. It's no longer enough to have good content and good links and expertise. That doesn't cut it anymore because Google is trying to level the playing field. This is your experience resume that I think we need to start thinking about when we create content. Tell me who you are. Tell me why we should trust you. What's your expertise? What's your experience? If you're doing any sort of testing or writing, I want to know your exact methodology. We looked at 18 insurance products. We reviewed them on this, and this. This is how we did. Over the course of 12 months, we blah, 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 blah. Show actual usage and finally make it personal. Put yourselves into the content. Third person content's fine, but AI content is third person content. I want to know the experience behind the actual person. All right. So let's say we're moving on. We have our content. What is intended audience? Google says you either have to have an intended audience or an existing audience. And they make it very important. It's one of the first things they talk about in their helpful content update documentation. And I think a lot of us noticed, Lily Ray pointed out, when the first HCU updates happened, that it was mostly informational sites, what we call niche sites, ad and affiliate supported. And it certainly grew from there, but this is what they hit initially. And it seems as if Google is favoring not ad and affiliate supported sites, but originators of merchants, things like that, first-party websites. Here's an example. So 2 years ago, if you were to search best credit cards for bad credit, highly competitive search term, you would have seen this result for WalletHub, very likely. And WalletHub did all their research, and they're a highly respected site, doing a lot of things we're talking about already. And they had determined through their research that it was the Discover It Secure card was the best credit card for bad credit. Today, if you do the same search, MasterCard, the actual issuer of credit cards, ranks on top. And MasterCard did their research, and they found that, lo and behold, the best credit card for bad credit was, in fact, MasterCard. Amazing. I can't believe it. This whole time, they had the best credit card for bad credit. And you can see it in WalletHub's traffic, just this low, long decline. And it's almost like MasterCard is just slurping all this search traffic up, for no other reason than they're the ones who issue the credit card. But I don't think it's that. I think what Google is saying, when you have a short intended audience, you have something to do with that audience other than monetize the click. They don't want you just bringing an audience in, clicking an ad, clicking an affiliate link. They want you to do something. They want you to form a relationship with your audience, whether you're selling something, you have a service to offer, a subscription, a community forum. It's the difference between a short-term audience and a long-term audience. Do you want to form a relation? And Google says, would your audience find your content valuable even if search engines doesn't exist? So they want you to build content for these long-form relationships. When the helpful content update came out, some sites were noticing this. We'd see a lot of this, where a affiliate site that was hit would just plaster a one-page digital download page, or they'd have a shopping cart, and it never worked. It was just kind of sad the way these things happened. And the thing that I like to say is you have to make whatever these long-term relationships are, you have to make it a central focus of your site. Doesn't have to be the focus of your site, but it has to be a central focus. F-stoppers, great photography blog, affiliate supported, ad supported, but they've had this long-running community where community members can just upload a picture. And it has thousands of entries going back years. And Google loves this stuff, and these guys were not hit by the helpful content update. Forums. Thank God for Rick Steves. Rick Steves, are you familiar with him in Australia? Okay, Rick Steves is a travel blogger, very beloved in the United States. He ran this travel blog for years, and it got no love, but he's a good guy, so he just kept it going because he loved his community. And then the helpful content came along and uplifted him, and it's been absolutely great. You can have a subscription model like Nomad List or Lenny's newsletters, where you're funneling people into a subscription for your content. It's a central focus of your site. You can still have the content, but you're trying to form a long-term relationship with your audience. User-generated content, freaking awesome. Letterboxd allows users to upload their favorite film list, and people can talk about it. And then they can monetize that if they want with ads and affiliate content. CookPad, CookPad is like a cooking site that you see all the time with recipes and affiliate links to pans and pots. But they allow users to upload and comment on their own recipes. The community loves it. Google loves it too. You can do crowdfunding, Wait But Why, Free Code Camp. Again, trying to establish that long-term relationship. So many different models, services and consulting. You can have your whatever content site you want, add services and consulting on it, and again, it's a central focus of the site, and Google likes that. E-commerce is probably one of the harder things to do, especially if you're starting from scratch, but being an original manufacturer, selling your own goods, making it a central focus of your site. There are so many different models other than affiliate links and ads that you can incorporate into your site to make it more long-term attractive to Google, that you have an intended audience. You're trying to build that audience for yourself. But what if you don't have an intended audience? And this might be the most important thing, existing audience. Probably out of all the things I've talked about today, existing audience is probably the most important signal you can tell to Google that you are a site deserving to rank. And what do we mean by existing audience? Brand. Now, I'm not the first person at this conference to talk about brand. Aleda talked about the importance of brand yesterday. Jess Soul's going to be talking later this afternoon about raising your brand visibility in an AI world. You do not want to miss that conference, that session. But brand, the idea of how many people are looking for you. How many people are specifically looking for your business or your website? So Moz, my former colleague at Moz, Tom Capper, they have this metric called brand authority. Which is basically just a proxy for how many terms you're looking for, how many people are looking for your brand, and how many of those you rank for. I'm hoping Ahrefs incorporates that soon. Tim Sulo, where are you? And what Tom did a study, and what he found was it wasn't necessarily your brand authority that indicated if you were winning or losing Google updates. He found that it was the ratio of your domain authority to your brand authority. That if you had a high domain authority and a low brand authority, you were susceptible to getting hit by these recent Google updates. But if your ratio was more even, that made you more safe. And I think in Tom's calculation, you didn't want your domain authority to be more than 1.4 higher than your brand authority. This reminded me of something when I saw this, something similar that Google published a few years ago. It was called the Site Quality Score Patent. And I don't know if we can see the name here, by Naveed Panda. Yeah, the Google engineer they named the Panda algorithm update. And Panda came up with this ratio that he proposed using within Google to determine a site quality score. And it reminded me very much of what Tom had found. And in the paper, if you go through it, this is overly simplified. There's a lot of math, but overly simplified. Site quality score is calculated by number of navigational queries that you rank for, that your site ranks for, people looking for your site, over all the clicks that you've earned for your site. So the higher number of navigational queries compared to all the clicks you got, the better your site quality score. So you can approximate this yourself in Search Console. Just look at all your branded clicks. Hopefully you have an identifier so you can identify your branded clicks. If you have a very generic name, this may be hard to do. For example, prosperity media, I'd be looking for keywords that start with prosperity or prosperity media or something like that, and filter all those. Then divide that by all the clicks you've earned over a certain time period. Now, there's no set number what a good ratio is, but after working with dozens and dozens of sites and looking at these things, my general approximation, and take these with a grain of salt, if less than 1% of your traffic is branded, you have a pretty weak brand. There's not a lot of people looking for you. And these sites tend to be more susceptible to negative Google actions. 5 to 20%, branded search, you're doing okay. You're starting to have a defense. It doesn't mean you're invulnerable, but you're starting to get there. You have some branded traffic. People actually recognize you as a legitimate place to visit on the internet. Above 20%, generally 20% is pretty strong. You have a strong brand, it's defensible, you're probably growing in traffic. So that's what we like to aim for. But Cyrus, I run a site that reviews insurance forms. I saw this on Facebook. Telling a website to just build a brand is like telling a homeless person, just buy a house. Why don't you just get a brand, everybody? It's easy. Just go out there and buy a brand. I get it. It can be hard to focus on brand building when for years we have been focused on keywords and content and links. We're not building up we don't build up our brand, we build up our content. We get that anchor-rich text phrase that, tells us what to do. Here's an example. The difference between a keyword-focused SEO strategy and a brand-focused SEO strategy. I want to rank for best credit card for airline miles. And oh my God, airlinecreditcard.com is on sale for $65,000. So I buy that. I am winning at SEO. And it only cost me $65,000. Or I can spend $7 on a domain and be the points guy. Who do you think has been winning the last few years? The points guy. Persona-based brand SEO strategy. Not a keyword-focused strategy, a brand strategy. And he's doing great. So branded personas are one way to get out of the keyword-focused mindset that we've been in for so long and start thinking about what is our brand? How do we define our persona? Who are we? I'd rather be the points guy. Branded reports, another way to get your brand out there. We're already producing content. So many of us in this room are producing content on a regular basis, but if we can just put our brand on the content, do an annual report in an industry, every industry needs an annual report, but it doesn't have to be this, but this is an excellent example, HubSpot known for their state of marketing report. Putting our name on our content is another way of advancing our brand. Branded tools is another one. A lot of us make tools as a link building tactic, but putting your brand on there, putting your brand first, another important strategy. Branded emails, I made this mistake. When I launched my email 3 years ago, I called it the SEO Tips Newsletter. How generic could I be? Because I wanted to rank for SEO Tips Newsletter. But not the strategy I would do today. Now I would call it the Zippy SEO Newsletter or something like that. I don't need everybody searching for it. But if just 1, 5, or 10% of people, it sticks in their head and they do those keyword searches, you're just trying to get a crack. You're just trying to get your foot in the brand door. Branded community, money-saving expert. This guy combined keyword-rich, exact match, plus a community. He's hugely popular. People are searching for money-saving expert and getting that click-through rate. So brand your communities if you can. Branded media. I tell my clients, go on podcasts, do the digital PR, but we need to stop thinking about it as building links and mentions to our content and building links and mentions to our company. Get your CEO on those podcasts. Get your CEO, your company individuals in that branded PR. Start talking about your brand and less about the content that you're producing. Branded social media. People tell me, I can't, dude, I work in insurance. I work in tax preparation software. I have a boring brand. No one's going to follow my social media. Are you, Scrub Daddy, 620,000 followers. Is your brand more boring than cleaning sponges? You have anything can be branded and made popular if you're creative enough, if you want to put the energy into it. Branded content style, love Tim Urban, Wait But Why, and his cartoons. People recognize it. It's instantaneous recognition. Thought leadership, Dave Perel, putting your thoughts out there, your CEOs, getting them active on LinkedIn, wherever, and getting them involved. Branded series, Joy Hawkins, Whiteboard Friday. Everybody's familiar with Whiteboard Friday. At Moz, back in the day, when we were for a 10-year stretch, when we were the largest, most recognizable SEO company in the world, we did every one of these tactics. And we did it kind of by accident. We had the Moz bar, we had a branded community. Roger Moz ran in the Whiteboard Fridays. MozCon, the conference, our branded newsletter, Moz Top 10. We did all this, we were going to do all this marketing anyway. This was something we were going to do. But we put our brand on everything, and it required no extra work. No extra work. A lot of the content we had produced have died since then. You can't find it on the internet. But the brand, even though the company's very different today, the brand lives on. And this brand that we built just by putting the brand first, still generates millions of dollars of revenue a year. Brands can live on. You can sell a brand. It's hard to sell content sometimes. I started to think about ways that Google might recognize brand. Gianluca Ferrelli wrote a post about knowledge graphs and things like that recently. If you can look for that. I started to think about branded links, and I wanted to look in our database and see what do the winners and losers look like in branded links. When people link to them, are they linking to their brand or are they linking to content? So this was kind of a hard job trying to determine all the brand names for all the sites that we went through. But in the end, yeah, there's a huge difference. The losing sites, 8.3% of their links were branded. Winning sites, close to 21%. So people were linking to the winning sites. They would recognize them as a brand. They had a branded identity. This is something we can control. If anyone in here is involved in link building, this is something under our control. This is how SEOs can influence brand, influence the conversation. Again, I'm not saying branded links are a ranking factor, but it's a recognition. It's a downstream pattern recognition. This is a client law firm that I had. Best in their market. Tons of expertise and knowledge. They started getting hit by helpful content and other updates. Nothing we did, we threw all kinds of SEO at this. We were producing new content, we were pruning content, building. Nothing we did worked until we started building branded links. We shifted our strategy, started making links about the company, about the individuals at the company, and less about the content. And that was the one thing that was able to pull them out. I recently launched an online marketing directory for marketing consultants and firms. And we tried to go this strategy. When we named it Zippy List. We could have named it anything, but we wanted to put our brand name in there. When we did that, it's only been live for 6 weeks. Our brand traffic has tripled. We were at 4% branded traffic, which is in that moderate zone, and now we're at 13% brand traffic. And as long as we keep up our marketing for Zippy List, I think we can get that and grow that further. So just that one decision increased our brand traffic, and we're starting to get into a respectable zone. Some other things we did with Business List, Zippy List, we wanted to communicate to Google a clear business model. We weren't just monetizing clicks, affiliate links, whatever. We wanted to show Google that we were offering a service for visitors to get matched with a good marketing agency. And for marketing agencies, we have a service for them too. We're forming long-term relationships, and we want to communicate that clearly to Google. And we also went with a people-first strategy. We're making sure that people are required to submit pictures of their team using real human beings. We ask them to write their profiles in first person and document their experience in marketing, that resume that we're talking about. And we use real human endorsements. Now this is just a plug, my self-promotional plug. You heard James Norquay talk at the beginning how appearing in marketing directories was helping them appear in AI answers. If you run a marketing agency or a consultant, we welcome you to apply to Zippy List. I would love to have you. So I just want to finish up, kind of bring it full circle. The idea that affiliate marketing is dead, and not just affiliate marketing, because this applies to every type of content. If I were to start an affiliate marketing blog in 2025, this is how I would do it. I would do with a brand persona, like Dr. Michael Brous, the sleep doctor, doing great stuff, but he's a real person. He's not just a keyword. He's putting his face out there, and people respect him for that. I would do additional price information. This is a site called Camel. All they do, they scrape Amazon and they track prices. Are you familiar with Camel? Yeah. Google loves this site. And I don't know why, but they're showing all this additional data that nobody else has. And they say, Google in their documentation says, we want additional price information if you're an affiliate. Super detailed product comparisons. I don't think, for competitive keywords, I don't think people realize the amount of work that you need to put into product comparisons. This is Baby Gear Lab, hugely popular site. They do crash test dummies on all their baby seats. They have so many data points. It's amazing, and Google loves them. Super rigorous testing, again. Our Tings, TV reviews. These things are 10,000 words long. They are so detailed. They are the experts in TV specifications. This is the level for competitive keywords that we need to be at. User-generated content. Mac Rumors, hugely popular site, affiliate, ad-supported. And their site has suffered a little bit in the last couple of years, but their forum is taking off. Their forum that they've always supported the community. I think that's so important. Incorporating that user-generated content and doing things that don't scale. Run, repeat. I'm a runner. I love these guys. They have cut in half something like 850 pairs of running shoes, doing all the details. Google freaking loves them. And they are completely awesome. So Gary Illes said this, Gary Illes of Google. I think we're entering into a new era of Google that I'm actually kind of looking forward to, where SEOs like ourselves don't necessarily have the advantage. Gary said, originality is something we're going to be focusing on this year. That's going to be important. I, for one, am looking forward to an era of originality and actual experience. And finally, I just want to say I've traveled all over the world, met SEO communities everywhere, and this is on my second trip to Australia. I've definitely decided that my favorite SEO community is the Australian SEO community. So thanks, everybody.